All right, we're back. Episode
154.
154. Thank you for subbing in. Episode 154 of the Morse Code Podcast. Brought to you by Cold River Vodka, our good friends at Cold River Vodka, all over the internet. Formerly sponsoring Dry January, I'm pretty sure I saw the other day. So good.
Yeah, they shut everything down for 30 days. 31, sorry.
Yeah, pretty interesting business model, but what are you going to do? I haven't had anything to drink this month, alcoholic wise.
I haven't had water since November, I think.
You're doing the real Dry January.
Boy, is it dry.
Yeah.
I turned up the heat in my house too.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a real challenge. Doctor recommended?
He actually strongly suggested against it. And he said it's a marvel that I'm still around.
Wow. So you've had like 5 or 6 vaccine shots this month, you mentioned?
I was just about to say, yeah, I've had a lot.
But the powdered version, no liquid. Good for you. Very disciplined. Speaking, well, I guess not really speaking of, but where do you want to start? You catch any of the games this weekend? Football games?
I did, yeah.
All 4 of them?
I didn't see all of the Bengals one, but the other 3, yes.
It's crazy because like, that was a really good game.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it was definitely like the most forgettable one.
Mm-hmm.
The most forgettable game was a 1 seed losing at home on a last-minute field goal to a team that hasn't won a playoff game since the text message was invented. Like whenever that was, I think 1991. That is a pretty cool thing that's been going around. Like no one's texted about a Bengals playoff win ever because texting was invented after they won their last game. So I had mine ready to go. Who did you send your first Bengals text to?
Tyler
Carson Palmer. Oh, no.
Trying to reel him back in.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance we'll see him be a fan of them?
I would say, I was just going to say, now is probably as good a time as ever to join the Bengals bandwagon, even if you weren't a fan before. They're one of the funner teams in the league.
He still seems pretty strongly against it.
Yeah. I guess
it's proven correct by like the Hawks because they had a great season last year, and that would have been just as good a time to do that. And now I think they're below
like
the
sellers at the deadline. Yeah, they stink. And they're like trading assets, which is like they were in the Eastern Conference Championship 7 months ago, whenever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Very crazy. Very crazy. I think before, I was just thinking, like I think this is probably over once the NFL season's over. I have no intention of talking about the Boston Celtics anytime soon. Like I don't even know where to begin. I just think. I was actually kind of like thinking to myself today, and I kind of was half joking about this earlier where I'm like, well, they're just going to be like this back and forth 500, whatever. It's literally what's going to happen. Like they're in 500 purgatory. And this weekend was a great example. They lost Friday, another like latest edition of is this the worst loss of the season type of loss to the Blazers. And I think that knocked them a game below 500 maybe. And then Jason Tatum had a 50 burger on Sunday, which they also won the game. And I think right now they're at 500, maybe a game below. Let me see. And the funniest part is they're right where you don't want to be. They're 24 and 24. They have a 50% chance of winning any game they find themselves in. And that puts them right at the 8th seed. So right, like 8, 9, or 10 is probably the worst place you can finish because you won't get a lottery pick. Well, I guess you will if you don't win the playoff. 8th seed is the worst possible scenario because they'll get absolutely smoked by whoever they play in the first round. They won't get a lottery pick. And I don't think they're going to win more than 2 games in a row or lose more than 2 games in a row the rest of the year. If I was like a betting man, I would just switch it up every couple games based on what just happened previously.
I think it was a couple weeks ago. They had their first 3-game win streak of the season.
Big time. I think someone said they've never won more than 3 or lost more than 3 consecutively in like over a year.
And all the losses are just like the most deflating, frustrating, like blow a lead or look like they're just completely disinterested. And also, if I remember correctly, I feel like over the summer and like going into this season, didn't most people chalk it up as this is going to be kind of a bridge season because next summer we're going to find out if they're going to try to get Bradley Beal or not. So now it's like when people are super mad about them, I'm like, I mean, what did we really expect?
That's fair, but I think also people, I could have sworn we were on the show talking about like 4 or 5 seed, maybe as a ceiling, but that's a good take. I know what you're saying. It's kind of like the Patriots last year. Like, I think a lot of people said like, hey, a good year will be like 8-8, 9-7, worst case scenario 7-9, bridge to maybe another quarterback if Cam doesn't work out in a big offseason. And that's literally what happened. I think this year the same thing. Like, get into the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game. They definitely didn't win the playoff game, but they got into the playoffs. And yeah, you're right.
Well, it's just hard to keep that mindset from the summer anyways, because then once the season starts, you're like reacting to every individual game. And then, I don't know, you see them get, so they got Schroeder and Josh Richardson, which are, I don't know, like just off names, they're like decent pickups enough. Oh, yeah, and the body of Al Horford.
Yeah. Body formerly known as the soul formerly known as Al Horford. Yeah, I think you're right. But that's also just like NBA fandom in general.
Yeah.
It's definitely a half glass empty type of narrative, which I'm fine with. Like I think we can both admit we've fallen into that trap as well. But yeah, that's a very good point. The season's going exactly how a lot of people thought it would, but it's also terrible.
Extremely disappointing.
Extremely disappointing, and definitely didn't see this one coming. So anyway, back to the football game. So I don't know, where do you want to start? We got Aaron Rodgers pack going up. We got Brady out. That Bills game last night. Ryan Tannehill stinks. Those are the headlines from each game. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the biggest story. Ryan Tannehill. No, let's start with the Bills Chiefs.
That was terrible.
This is
it. I'll blur that out. You enjoy that. You got close enough to the finish line.
Dude, it was tough. I'm literally like dry heaving right now if I don't take a sip.
That's gonna hit. Let us know what you think.
Wow. What a hole.
What do you think is the longest you went without like drinking liquid? Do you remember ever going like a certain amount of time?
I don't.
Or maybe like Sacco, like the longest time of just drinking nothing but alcohol with nothing but like river water mixed in it.
Yeah. A couple
river water and dehydrated beef jerky supplemented in between.
A couple accidental drops of river water that people were shitting in, probably.
Yep. That is nasty. Also, I know we're kind of going over the place, but that literally happens. And then just in general, people's bare feet are in that water all weekend. Just like going around. Oh, that's probably the worst water you can possibly drink. Go ahead.
Let me tell a really quick funny story. I don't think I told you. On one of the last Sacco trips, I don't know if it was one of the ones that you were on, but whoever's cooler we were using, we brought it back. And this is when I was still at Hollyhock. We didn't empty the cooler, so we never removed the beer or the water that was in there. And one of the roommates that moved in when like a couple of guys that you knew moved out. This kid was like basically a big time alcoholic. Was like every night would show up from the gas station with like a couple 40s in his hand, and that's all he did every night. Anyways, he started drinking all the beers around the house, even the ones that were like set on the fireplace and like in the windowsill that were just like there for no reason, but we were just messy or whatever. He then made his way to the garage and took the ones out of the Sacco cooler that had been sitting in the Sacco water for legitimately years. I remember one time I opened the cooler and it was just like cloudy, like brownish water, but kid thought that it was a safe bet.
Sometimes, I don't know. Some people say like moldy beers are the best beers. So
Kid's got quite the digestive system, apparently.
All right. So you didn't want to start with Tannehill. So where did you want to start? What was your
Let's start
point?
with the Bills and Chiefs because I do want to talk about
Yeah,
the overtime rules.
that's a good point. That was a little polarizing subject going around today. What are your thoughts?
So I'm fine if they keep the rule. I'm fine if they change it. I think the dumb thing is if they change it, people are acting like there's no easy solution. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I saw Felger mention this is just to play a
Mm-hmm.
10-minute quarter because they don't want to play another whole quarter because of injury risk and whatnot. I say play a 10-minute quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then if somehow it's still tied at the end of that, go to don't do something gimmicky like the college. Like I actually
College.
don't like the college football shit.
Yeah, right.
Do field goals and just move it out like 25, 30, 35 until one team misses. Just the same way that you would do a penalty kick in soccer.
Yeah, I think 10-minute quarter non-sudden death is fine. I just feel like there's been so many more ties lately than I remember. Like there's been a tie, at least one tie every year, I think, for the last like handful of years. And before that, I don't remember. I remember ties being extremely rare. So that 10 minutes does go by fast.
It's
My
true. I
big
don't know if
thing
that's
is,
enough to give both teams
yeah,
because it would be close, I think, depending on the teams that are involved. But like at least in the playoffs, you would be
I was
motivated to
gonna
win and
say,
not play for the tie.
yeah, you can change it in the playoffs. I'm fine with that. Well, it is better. It used to be legit sudden death. Like a field goal would win it.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Like that
Mm.
was a coin flip. You need to go maybe 40, 50 yards and you win the game. At least now it's a walk-off touchdown or, back and forth. My biggest thing was the way it was all justified was like this rule needs to change. Like Josh Allen just played a great game and this is how it's going to end. It's like, well, you can't justify it based on how the game went. Like you can't have a caveat like, well, if it's a really good game, we're going to do
Right.
it this way. But if it was like Steelers Lions from week 11 or whenever that was, like we're just going to stick to the regular rule. I mean, I understand it. It's a reason to reconsider changing it, but there's nothing you could do about it last night. Like if everyone went into the game knowing the overtime rules, or at least they should have. So I don't know. I get it though. From like a fan's perspective, I think it would have been cool to see them both get a shot. Because I think someone, maybe it was Kyle or someone was like, if there wasn't a sudden death, like they would have each scored 12 times consecutively, and we would have been there till 4 a.m.
Well, hold on. You're saying if Case Keenum gets the ball and marches his team down the field, you don't want to see Nathan Peterman get a chance?
It's okay. I think we know who the better team is here. Oh man, but that was also one of those games where whoever did get possession first was going to score a touchdown, probably within the first 2 minutes, which I think they did. But like those defensive backs were absolutely cooked by mid fourth quarter, which is understandable because if you look at it, I saw the graphic today. I think it was like, when were all those touchdowns? In like 3 minutes or something? Like you were on and off the field every like 45 seconds covering, like running side by side with Tyreek Hill or perennial all-pro Gabriel Davis like throughout like that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot. I know like some of our group chats put the stuff about like the Bills coverage and stuff. Like whatever. Like I get it. Like you're exhausted and you're not going to really formulate a plan to shut out guys like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You could have maybe put a little effort into covering those guys and let fucking Chris Pringle or Cole Hardman try and beat you. But whatever. That was wild because I think I didn't almost go to bed early, but I like started to phase out a little bit. I think it was, so I'm just trying to think. So I'm trying to think of like the order of the last like few touchdowns. It was Bills down and then Bills scored. KC came back. Well, either way, if you go under a minute, when Josh Allen threw that pass with like 103 left.
Yep.
I saw one angle today, like the big all 22, whatever big view, that's an incredible throw. Like that sideline to sideline throw because he was double covered, but he also had two safeties outside of each. There are four people. There are two defensive backs on each side of him. And it was almost one of those weird, like drop back off your back foot, like finger to like flick of the wrist throws literally between two safeties. Again, to Mr. Reliable, Gabriel Davis of all people. That was sick. I would have been okay with the game ending there.
Did you see his final numbers? His yards?
Yeah. Astounding. Do something, right? 200 plus and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Not bad. I think Steph Diggs had like 2 catches for 9 yards.
But hey, he's got another opportunity to take an Instagram picture. Waiting for revenge or whatever it was he posted.
Yeah,
I also thought, I don't think that a squib kick would have made all that much difference for the Bills. Now I think about it, I feel like the only way that they really could have changed the outcome is if they had one of those perfectly placed kickoffs to like the 2 and make them take time from there or take it out. But like a squib kick, the ball or the clock doesn't start until the guy touches the ball anyway. So it's not going to take long for him to just grab it and kneel it down.
I agree with you. I think that he should have just kicked it to the 1 yard line. I don't know why they didn't think of that. That's on Sean McDermott.
No, just saying like like people think that squibbing it would have made a difference. And it's like,
yeah, I agree.
That guy had 13 seconds to get down the field and he did it pretty easily. So like, I really don't think anything was going to make a difference.
Good point. If that 13 seconds played out how probably 99.9% of every other scenario with 13 seconds played out, you wouldn't be talking about like what to do at the kickoff.
Yeah. Plus they did have the 3 timeouts. So like,
oh yeah,
3 timeouts plus Pat Mahomes. He could have like scored 2 touchdowns if he really wanted to.
I'm surprised they didn't try that. Yeah.
Because could have won it in regulation.
Yeah. Oh no, that's just field goal range. Never mind. That field goal went through as time expired, right?
Yeah. He still had to hit a bomb too. I didn't think that was going to be automatic. Like, I want to say that was
it was a decent kick.
48, 49, something like that.
Good weekend for place kickers, special teams in general.
Oh my God. That kick by Robbie Gould was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets undersold because like the camera angle where you're behind the uprights, you don't see snow as well. But then when you're sideways kind of on the field, like
I agree.
Snow was coming down pretty good.
That was a low key snow game. That was a legit snow kick.
Yep.
For sure. That weather really picked up. Which assumingly suited well the Southern California team versus the team who plays there 8 games a year. There's really not so much you can do about that. My quick takeaways from the Bills game, like I said, could have been definitely one of, if not the best football game I've ever watched, especially the last like 5 minutes. Like that was just like, and that like for a non-home team, that was just incredible to watch. It was better than, remember that Chiefs-Rams Monday night game from like a couple of years ago. That game was great, but that last 2 minutes again. And like, I like Josh Allen. Like, that's probably my other big takeaway. The AFC is just the Patriots in general, I think, are porked for a little bit if they don't figure something out. Because like the Bills aren't losing that division anytime soon.
No.
You have guys like Burrow, Herbert, Lamar, Mahomes, obviously. Like there's very few bad quarterbacks like in the AFC. And like Mac is probably, I know he's young and whatever, but he's definitely closer to the worst end of the spectrum than those other guys. And I know like Felker and Mass talked about this a lot recently, but like addressing the draft. And it's pretty funny, like how they just talk about Bills still drafting like those like 6'5", like LeVar Arrington type like Ted Johnson type linebackers, or just like a fat nose tackle, or a wide receiver who's probably going to be off the team before his rookie contract ends. I think like you have to watch the games this weekend and figure something out. I'm going to be so pissed if they draft, like I said, like a nose tackle or a completely like a linebacker out of the 90s, or just even if they draft a wide receiver, I'm probably going to be hesitant for at least 2 years until I see what the surrounding class does around him. Like we saw this weekend with AJ Brown and Deebo Samuel. So I don't know. That's gonna be a tough division for a while. Do you agree with some of the narratives around the new Brady and Manning type of rivalry between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Why not, buddy?
Yeah, we're gonna have to aim.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like you said, we're gonna have to aim for the wild card at this point. every year
Oh,
until
I'll take the wild card.
something
Absolutely.
drastic happens on this team roster wise. Like
Yeah.
who are the when we were talking to Rudman, it was Calvin Ridley, and who else was like the biggest wide receiver name that's a free agent this year?
I think like Allen Robinson is available.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I don't remember the last
about
time I
it.
cared about him.
No.
Um,
I think Devonta Adams is available, right?
yeah,
Technically. That's the thing. Like, I just don't think like that mystique is. Oh, Antonio Brown is probably available. Uh, like, I don't think players. I mean, I think the Patriot way is not dead, but I don't see Devonta Adams like talking to his agent saying, "How do I get to New England?" Or Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's tough too because I think he's really good, really young. He'd be a great player, but I don't know. I think I'd like to have a good sit down with him and see if he'd like to play football in the near future. He sat out pretty much all year, which is fine. Like I know he had some mental health stuff, that's fine. But from like a business perspective, I'd like to nip that one in the bud before we trade a bunch of assets and pay him a lot of money.
I would definitely need to know the answer to do you like football anymore before
I
we
think
sign
it's an
him.
important. I think it's a valid question,
Yeah,
or a simple like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? We're 5 months. Where do you see yourself by week 5? And if he struggles to come up with an answer, I'd still trade for him, but I'd be hesitant to feel good about it. And that's our 2022 outlook for the New England Patriots.
I mean, it's kind of scary that it feels like in some ways the game has passed. I wouldn't say passed Belichick by,
Oh
but he definitely
boy,
needs to update a little bit.
his brain.
Update his software.
Yeah, he's been hitting like that remind me tomorrow button for going on 20 years
Yeah,
when those updates pop up. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm
everyone's
also
just
nervous as
faster,
hell.
more dynamic, athletic.
Well, like watch the game this weekend. Like I'm saying this too. Like any of those games. Imagine Mac Jones like hanging around in any of those games. They would lose to the Titans. Like they cannot keep up with any of those teams. Even like that 13-10 Packers game. Like you are not going to chase. I mean, Rodgers played like shit, but it's like on most days, you're not going to hang in there with Rodgers and Devontae Adams or Debo Samuel and whoever the hell's throwing him the ball or handing off the ball. And then the Bills Chiefs game, like that's like another like galaxy. Like that's not even close. I honest to God think they would have lost to the Chiefs 55-10 if the Chiefs wanted to.
I thought it was weird where I saw a take. It was from someone that we've had on the show.
Oh
I
boy.
hate saying this, but I saw a take that was like, if you need a little bit of reason for optimism for Mac Jones, it's you'll get it by looking at what Joe Burrow did because he's not athletic and he doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's precise and he's accurate. I guess you could say that, but he also has some sick weapons. Number one, and
Volin
number
say
two,
that? Ben Volin say that?
Phil Perry.
Ah, pushing P. I remember him saying that. I saw someone say that. But you're right. It's not a terrible take quarterback for quarterback. But
It's just
yes,
Mac
I would
wasn't
go the
known for
Bengals.
being like Mac wasn't the explosive guy in the Alabama offense.
No.
He was kind of a product of the receivers
He
around
was a
him.
product of Jalen Waddle and Henry Ruggs and everyone else. Yes.
Nick
I agree.
Saban.
Damian Harris. Yes. And an offensive line that's probably all going to the Pro Bowl this year. Yeah, I agree with that. I do. But I mean, I think there's still positives from that. Like there are positives to
Yeah.
everyone jokes like Alabama's like the 32nd NFL team, which I think there is some legitimacy to. Nick Saban runs that team, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for the kids, for the children. He runs that team like an NFL team. And I was actually hoping that, like, you can say that, but I don't think that really made a difference. He's never looked good in a primetime game, now that I think about it. Unless I'm
Mac
forgetting
Jones.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Colts, he looked terrible. Bills, the 2 Bills games where he threw more than 3 times, he looked terrible. I wouldn't say terrible, but the team looked terrible. Like they got smoked each time.
Yeah. I'd
So-
say he just looks like average to me.
I do think that, but I think another interesting thing about the NFL over the last few years is like there's been such a heavy emphasis on first round quarterbacks just coming in and being like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert or something. It's still the norm, I think, to get drafted first round, maybe start, maybe sit, maybe start half the year and kind of develop, kind of like Lamar Jackson or I was going to say Baker Mayfield, but that's good. That ship's going in a different direction. I think he'll
Is that
be
what we're
fine.
doing with Jarrett Stidham?
Yeah,
Is that the plan with him?
great point. Great point. Yep, he's the one that didn't really check that box. But I think Mac Jones is better than Jarrett Stidham
No, I
coming
know.
out of college. So I'm not like totally. I'm not giving up. But like if he's the quarter, I'm assuming, and I'm okay with him being the quarterback next year. I'd like to get him a dependable veteran receiver. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like I don't know who it would be, and I don't see how it is, formulated. A lot of that being like when Brady was here, players would proactively try to get to New England. Like it wasn't a issue of can we get this guy? It was holy shit, this guy's available. And then it was just a formality. You tweet out the Belichick Stone Cold Steve Austin video and like it was a done deal. That's literally how those contracts were finalized.
Dude, there's two videos I always think of. The one of him coming out of the Lions tunnel is a good one.
Yeah.
And then there's the one where he's wearing a suit and he's like still in the interior tunnel and they play Darth Vader's music.
Oh yeah, that one's good. I was thinking about the other one, like at the coaches meeting when he's sipping his orange juice. And then there's the one when he's in the booth with his binoculars.
Yeah.
But that's all it takes. It was like when Elon Musk used to tweet about like cryptocurrency and it would go up like 500%. That's all you need to do. Antonio Brown was a great example. The minute he posted that video of him like leaving the Raiders, it was like, all right, this guy will be in Foxborough by Sunday. And he was, and he scored a touchdown. And then he sexually assaulted his trainer, but still, you knew that was happening.
Call God.
I'm trying to think, there were some other good ones. Who was another like no-brainer like this guy? I really thought for a while OBJ was coming.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually surprised he didn't. JJ Watt, if it was any other Patriots here, JJ Watt would have been signed within the hour of him announcing he was leaving the Texans. There's other guys who caught. Actually, Devontae Adams is a great example. If this was 3 years ago, Devontae Adams would be here this summer. If the Patriots came out not winning a Super Bowl due to wide receiver depth and Brady was here and Devontae Adams was a free agent and Aaron Rodgers was also losing his mind, that would probably be done by this afternoon.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening anymore. And it kind of stinks because they suck at drafting. So
I don't even think,
like I said, I don't know really what's going to happen. I hope Jacoby Myers hits the weights this offseason and Jonnu Smith remembers how to play football because I don't see any other big names coming here.
I don't think they even have that much money to do anything, even if they wanted to.
That's true too. And so nobody wants to come here. They stink at drafting and they have no money. So it could be a tough offseason. It could be and their coaching carousel stinks. So,
dude, that might be their biggest addition is getting Joe Judge as a special teams coach.
Yeah,
and that actually might make a huge difference.
I'd be okay with that,
considering how fucking undisciplined that side of the ball was this past year.
They put up like one of those like giant billboards on I-95 about like Joe Judge coming back.
they do the Drake Certified Lover Boy campaign with Joe Judge instead.
Yep. What was that whatever the magazine was, Essence Magazine or whatever. My next chapter feature on Joe Judge. Joe Judge rents out his high school auditorium. Exactly. Oh man, what a clown show.
They put
He was fired, right?
Yeah.
He at this point officially fired. Man, that's a tough job to take, the New York Giants.
Watch the Pats move Matthew Slater back to receiver. Dude, remember that year where we got to the AFC Championship and had to play him at receiver? I think Amendola was the number one. Austin Collie was on that fucking team for like that random year.
Yeah.
And then, then Matthew Slater.
Slats. I remember when Troy Brown had to play cornerback.
He wasn't
Actually
bad.
played pretty well. I was going to say he wasn't bad. One of the better two-way players of our generation.
That was
So
weird.
yeah, I
That
don't
was
think
weird
that'll
that
ever
that
happen
worked.
again.
And like, yeah, part of me thinks that
That's
Bill
not true.
Belichick thinks
Gronk.
that can still happen.
Gronk played safety against the Dolphins. In 2018.
God, why did
Remember
they
the
do
old
that when that
mixtape?
wasn't even like healthy prime Gronk anymore?
No idea. I remember, I think a mixtape episode came around that time and Coley was talking about it. I think like Tyler asked just like that, like, has anyone asked like just like why this happened? Like on a 53-man team, why you would take probably your best offensive player and just put him in a unknown position on at that point the most important play of the game. I don't think we've had that question answered yet.
Holy shit. We watched that game at your house. The gender reveal.
Yes, that was at Sean Olson's house, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if you guys were like related or whatever, but yeah.
No. Nope. We each have our own houses, respectfully. So anyway, that's all I kept thinking this weekend was like watching these games, and it's just like it puts the Patriots further and further back. I hope I'm wrong, but like they are not hanging around. They are not built for those games. That showed in the Bills game. Like they got smoked in that Bills game.
Yeah.
It's exactly what should have happened after you see how the Bills play against like real teams.
That reminds me of a tweet that I saw that said, and just in case you forgot, technically the Jets and the Giants play the same sport as these other teams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like
technically they're in the same industry.
They would have got their doors blown off against the Chiefs, against the Bengals. Titans, they would have lost comfortably to the Titans, but it would have been different. It probably would have been like Derrick Henry running for like 300 yards.
Packers would have smoked them.
Oh, Packers would have smoked them. Absolutely smoked them. Deebo Samuel would have had 500 all-purpose yards if it was San Francisco.
Matthew Judon would have been chasing his tail looking for like fucking Ryan Tannehill.
Looking for his tail. His own tail. Yeah, the weekend started with Ryan Tannehill throwing a pick on the first play of divisional weekend. And it was all uphill from there. That was terrible. That second pick was hilarious too. Great play. The kid who like deflected it in the red zone and then just took it from him. But like that's almost more depressing, I think. Like being the one seed at home and just watching that game and realizing like you're cooked with this guy. You aren't going anywhere with Ryan Tannehill. That really kind of stinks. You have some really good players around him, but like I don't remember the last time like a one seed had such a gaping hole at quarterback.
When I watch him, I don't understand how it was that he's a converted quarterback or a converted wide receiver.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like how that guy doesn't look nearly athletic enough to play his own position.
Correct.
Let alone something more athletic on the field.
I mean, he also must have sucked at wide receiver.
Yeah.
If they're like, this really isn't for you.
Let's put you in the most important position instead.
You're better in a different department. You're not really good at sales. Let's move you to maintenance technician and see how this goes.
Then again, I can't picture like Edelman playing quarterback because he was the reverse, I think.
I think the other way around makes more sense. I feel like it's easier to put someone at wide receiver who's never played it than quarterback. Like there's a lot more that comes with being a quarterback of a competitive team than playing a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he stinks. Granted, I mean, they lost on a last second field goal. So it's not like they got, blown out. But I think with decent quarterback play, they win that game comfortably. Obviously, with any other quarterback in the playoffs, they win that game. And then there's just so many like interchangeable quarterbacks like him. I think him, like Kirk Cousins. I think Derek Carr. You know what I mean? Who else? Maybe Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that are just like, they'll get to the playoffs, but like they're not going to win a Super Bowl. Like there's no way. Just like Jimmy G. Jimmy G's kind of right there too. Maybe he's a little better. I think the Rams are going to win by 30 points next week. Like that team's not going to the Super Bowl. It used to be Stafford. Now Stafford, I think, is, comfortably in probably a tier 2 conversation. but there's just so many like just middling quarterbacks that have no business being on like Super Bowl contending teams.
I fucking hate watching those mid-level quarterbacks. It's such a waste of time because like you said, they're not going to win anything. So like, can we just fucking sim this game? Like Derek Carr, I think is the mid of the mid.
Midtown, big time. The mayor of Midtown. Derek Carr, the mayor of what's that show on Prime? Mayor of Easttown.
Murder of Middle Beach. Oh, Mayor of Easttown.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Carr's mayor of Midtown for sure. Yep. But hey, I know one guy who I'm definitely not comfortable winning any sort of long-time playoff games, who some say is the greatest ever.
Oh.
He lost no less than 48 hours ago. I can't. All right, let's move on to that. Let's spark up that Aaron Rodgers pack real quick. I can't take him seriously just by how goofy he looks with his hair. Like any of those camera shots from the back, like looking at him from behind, I've seen like the Uncle Rico memes going around. Like he looks like an Uncle Rico type of just like guy. Single chin strap, barely wearing any pads, just runs around and flicks the ball all over the place. He just doesn't look like he enjoys playing football. And I don't blame him. Like that was a miserable night to play football. Even worse when you lose and can't score more than 10 points. Oh, that was weird. Glorious.
That was really weird because they I think their first drive of the game, they pretty much like marched down. Like whenever they scored, it was pretty easy and it was pretty early on. So I was like, shit. All right.
There we go. I thought the same thing. Yeah, AJ Dillon, easy money touchdown. And that was it. 13 to 10, right?
Yeah.
When did they get 10? Did they get that in the second half too? I don't remember the field goal.
I think they got that in the first half.
Okay. But that might have been the best football game I've ever watched, actually, because maybe the best fourth quarter I've ever watched. Speaking of special teams, that punt block was just electric. I was just going to ask you how the 49ers scored. Now I remember. The punt block was just perfect. Just perfect.
With snow on the ground, the cameraman didn't know exactly where the ball went.
What was going on? Nope. He didn't know if it was here, there, through the uprights.
Fucking punter took forever to let that go. And then, did you see the replay of how the Niners were able to like break through and get that?
I think so. Looked pretty easy.
Yeah, it was. Basically, whoever was the on the play just basically like chopped the guy's arm down and then was right there in front of the punter.
Yeah, not great. That was like literally that was the late game. So I actually went upstairs to bed. I flipped the game on while I was in my bed. And that was literally like the meme of like the guy just like going from like sitting in his chair to like sitting up after like something happened. Cause I'm like, this could, we'll get into the Twitter reaction after. I knew it was going to be a bloodbath if Aaron Rodgers lost, like on the internet. I definitely didn't expect it to be as bad, as quick and as bad as it was for so long. So as soon as that touchdown happened, I thought this can happen. And I do like Jimmy G. I like Debo. At that point, I'm like, I'd like to see this team win. I think you tweeted this too. To be fair, Jimmy G was throwing some ducks out there Saturday afternoon too. Just some terrible looking footballs. Not even like, I don't even care about like the accuracy or who it was going to. Just like, what would you say, wiffle balls?
Looked like he was like throwing pillows or something.
Yeah. Throwing like a wet dish rag 20 yards down the field. Or like throwing one of those like water footballs. Like you get wet, so when you catch it, it makes a big splash. Just chucking one of those in the blistering cold of Lambeau Field.
Throwing a paper plane into like a windstorm.
Seriously.
And they were all, I feel like, to the same place on the far sideline. And I don't know how he got lucky enough that he was able to. I know he got picked once, if I remember correctly, but he should have been like
terrible interception
multiple times.
Terrible pick. That pick was terrible. That was the one in the red zone.
Oh yeah,
he was Kittle. Like, I think he wanted to throw it out of bounds, but instead he just threw it to a Packer at like the 2-yard line. Yeah, Kittle was huge in that second drive, but it goes to show like how bad he played like mechanically. And if you win, you win. Like, that's fine. He led game-winning drives. I don't think Debo had a huge stat sheet night, but they would have lost that game without. I think he had that 1 3rd and 7 run was one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life.
I feel like he had the ball in his hands more than like Jimmy G did somehow.
That's also a ridiculous play call. And it goes to show you how that's like a Mac Jones play call. Third, like the epitome of a passing down. We're just gonna run a power to the right with our wide receiver, and if we don't get 7 yards, our season's over. That was one of the best runs I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wait a minute.
It was the game. It was like 2 minutes left.
Really quick, and I know we'll get to this game, but
yeah,
that just reminded me of the Matt Stafford play call on the very last drive where they it was like a QB draw for some stupid reason. You see that?
I don't think so. Towards the end of the game,
the very last drive, I think it was the first or second play of the last drive, and they asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, that might not have been the best play call looking back in hindsight." But
I assume back to the Cowboys games, like quarterback draws in the fourth quarter were abolished by the league. Oh man, no, I didn't see that. That was a crazy ending too. But yeah, that Packers game was great. Like I really wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers hangs it up. Like, I just don't think he has any motivation. He doesn't look like he has any motivation to come back. And that's like Aaron Rodgers 101. Like, I get it. Brady got questions about this too, but there was no discussion about the game, the team, whatever. It was literally clock hit 0, and he's already going to the media saying, like, I'm going to think about my future day by day, this, and that. It's just becoming a show. Like, I think his McAfee appearances are on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I can't wait for that. That's going to be like a presidential State of the Union address.
They also, when they asked him, I feel like he gave one answer about the game, and I was like, I know where this is going. They basically said, you only scored 10 points. It's got to be disappointing, but obviously don't want to just put the blame on you guys. That was a question from the reporter, and he said something to the effect of, "Yeah, you're never going to win scoring that many points, but the defense played their asses off, and then obviously special times had like a terrible night." And I was like,
"Yeah, I heard that." Like,
a good quarterback would never ever publicly say that about one side of the ball and just be like, "Well, yeah, I wasn't good, but this other side of the ball was even fucking worse."
Well, especially in a game where you score 10 points.
Right.
Like, if they lost like 39-36 because, the last minute field goal was blocked or like some mishap, that's you still can't say that, but I understand it. No way in that game. Terrible.
He didn't even try to find like I don't know, a nice way to kind of beat around the bush. He just directly said, "No, special teams had a terrible night."
Yeah, a third of my team I'm throwing under the bus publicly.
It's like, yeah, dude. Yeah, maybe if he scored a couple touchdowns.
Literally a couple of touchdowns would have won the game. If he scored a couple of touchdowns, they would have won. Ah, boy, hate to see it.
The final play from him was bizarre because I saw
terrible.
Did you see the all 22 angle of that one?
Sure did.
And he had Alan Lazard like wide open,
literally
probably 15 yards
out
in front of him.
Yep. 15 yards right in the middle of the field. Easy first down. Get into field goal range. Yes. But instead he opted for the old double team Devontae Adams.
Dude, that's sometimes him works, to play the hero ball, I think.
I agree. I'm with you. And he had another guy in single coverage on the left too. Might have been Randall Cobb. I can't believe after signing Randall Cobb, this is how the season ends. What a disappointment.
You know what
all like say. The back and forth negotiations over the summer to get him in-house. He still couldn't get it done.
They should have signed back Donald Driver and Greg Jennings.
Sterling Sharp.
That's what would have gotten it done.
Jordy Nelson. Bring the whole gang back. Ahmad Green. Eddie Lacy. Jeez.
Who was Favre's best receiver besides like Donald Driver is the only one I can picture.
Yeah, he was there for a while. Probably him. Donald Driver was good in our lifetime. I think early 2000s for a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah, there's definitely another one. I remember
Jermichael Finley.
Jermichael Finley was there, and I think he got paralyzed.
Oh.
He's fine. Well, he's not. Yeah, I think he had like a really bad neck injury, didn't he?
That probably sounds right.
That's
It's football,
Favre's
certainly
best
possible.
receivers. To be perfectly honest with you, most of the time he's throwing the ball to the other team, so it's kind of hard to see. Let's just Google like what was like a good Brett Favre year, like 2003,
Yeah.
2003 Green Bay Packers. What a team. Personnel. John Jones was the executive vice president. That's right. Brett Favre. Oh, Doug Peterson was his backup. Najee Davenport in the backfield. Antonio Chapman, Donald Driver. Oh, Antonio Freeman. He was there for a while. Before it was Jermichael Finley, there was Hall of Fame snub Bubba Franks at tight end as well. I remember him being there forever.
That's a wrestling name.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh yeah, you say Greg Jennings. Yeah, I think dude, I remember there was a time where like a 3 or 4 year period when I literally don't remember Jordy Nelson not catching a touchdown in like a Packers game. He was really good. Randall Cobb was pretty good too. Let's see, 2006, Mike McCarthy era. Now you're talking my language. He was still there in 2006. Jeez. Amon Green, Donald Driver. Yeah, Donald Driver was the staple in that offense. Absolutely. Really, really strong player. I think Eddie Lacy was really good for a year. He might have made a Pro Bowl.
He was. I remember him being high in fantasy.
He ate a Pro Bowl. Eddie Lacy. Boy, he got fat. I remember where we were. Oh, I think it was our fantasy draft. We were talking about this. Good Lord. Pro Bowl's rookie year. What do you know? Not too bad, Mr. Lacy. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Packers stink. Like that's just. I really think he's going to go down with one Super Bowl appearance. Like that's not good. Like I think the most famous one is obviously Marino for not having a ring. And his name is not thrown around with greatest of all times. It's just not because everyone asterisks it with the never won a Super Bowl. That's why I feel like Rodgers having that one is just going to piss me off forever because like we're talking about with Rodman, like you can't say he's never won one. It'd just be so much better if you could say that, but you can't because he did win one. But everything else has just been so bad, like so choke artist. Like just like I said, I don't remember watching a game where Jordy Nelson doesn't a touchdown. I don't remember the Packers ever not being 13-3. I feel like they're just 13-3 every year.
Yeah,
they're playing a god awful division, much like Brady. But the big difference is it didn't matter because you'd win Super Bowls with Tom Brady. So like I said, whatever that bozo wants to do, I'm fine. If he wants to leave, I can't see him coming back to Green Bay. I really can't. And then that's probably going to influence what Devontae Adams does. A young, unproven coach could be some dark days for the Packers. And again, who cares? Like they could go 17-0 next year, and it's just like you have no confidence in them in the playoffs.
I think
Last Dance Part 2 maybe next year if they all come back.
He could have skated if the off the field stuff didn't happen. In terms of like his football legacy would have been fine if he didn't decide to be an asshole off the field. I feel like they would have given him the Drew Brees treatment where it's like, it's mentioned in terms of he's only won one, but aside from that, people would be like, he's the most skilled talent wise, like him and Mahomes.
I don't think that's true. I don't think he's the most. I don't think that's true. Mahomes is better. Like Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
I think it was true from strictly just talent until Mahomes.
Yeah, that's what I said. Mahomes is better. Yeah. Obviously, before Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers was better. I'm not ready to say Aaron Rodgers is that much better than Josh Allen. Or who else is out there? Brady? No. Who's the other? Oh, Stafford. Yeah, maybe. No, he's better than Stafford and better than Jimmy G. But I agree with you. Like off the field stuff aside, that's a bad loss this weekend. Yeah. 10 points, lose a 10-point, scoring 10 points in a loss at home is bad. That's a bad loss. To Jimmy G, who somehow owns Aaron Rodgers. Like, he just can't beat the 49ers. It's either like he's getting run out of the building by Colin Kaepernick, or Jimmy G's completing 35% of his passes, but just not losing.
And like you said, with the weather, the Packers should flourish in that shit. They shouldn't be like, oh fuck, it's snowing.
It's
It's a
cold
little
out
cold.
today.
Dude. And by the end, that was one of the few bad weather games where I was like, all right, that I could see that being fun to attend, because I feel like when it's snowing to that level, it doesn't feel as cold.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I was thinking about this too. We didn't mention last week. Remember at some point we talked about like how much we would literally need to get paid to like go to a football game, like in like January weather. I saw a lot of people traveling to that Pats Bills game. I'd be borderline depressed. Like if I spent hundreds of dollars, if I spent hundreds of dollars to go to Buffalo to sit in the weather and to watch that game. Like when it was like 17-0 or whatever, if you're just sitting there in 0-degree weather, like $300 out of pocket, and knowing you have another like 10-hour drive to get home, I can't imagine. That's like rock bottom.
Yeah, no offense.
I'd honest to God call Robert Kraft and start negotiating a refund. Like just cover my gas or something.
All due respect, I would need more than Mac Jones and like Jacoby Myers as my QB and wide receiver one to attend a game like that. That's maybe in a few years, but no, not in 2022.
Okay, so that's a good question. What if it was like I'm trying to think of like the Brady era, like that Patriots at Broncos AFC Championship in the cold? You would go to that before knowing how the game ended.
Are you referencing? Oh, the one that we talked about earlier in the show?
No. Oh, yeah, maybe. The one when they lost to Peyton Manning. But not even like considering how the game ended. Like, because I'm with you. There's no chance I would go to a below freezing opposing stadium to watch this current Patriots team play a playoff game, knowing they're going to get their doors blown off. But if it was like one of the Brady eras, it'd be miserable. But at least you know there's a good chance they're going to win. In the worst case scenario, you're going to see like historic players.
Yeah, if the team is healthy and I get to see the good players, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah. Like not that I went to a game this year, but if I did, I don't envision myself like sitting my son down in 10 years telling about the day I saw Mac Jones and the day I saw Matthew Slater return a punt in person. The day I saw Gunnar take one to the 30-yard line.
Daddy, remember that double pass?
Oh, son, you just had to be there.
Do you remember that double pass for 4 yards?
Do you remember when N'Keal Harry sealed that edge on a toss sweep to Damian Harris on 3rd and 9 to set Jake Bailey with a better field position punt? That was a great day, Dad. We should do that again. Every time I went to Brady's first start after the Jets game. Yeah. They played the Colts. First play of the game, he got sacked. And they won. Otis Smith had a pick 6.
Terry Glenn do something in that game? Or no? Am I thinking of a different game?
Committed a crime. Killed someone. Terry Glenn had legal issues, right? Oh, he's dead, isn't he?
He is now. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think a motorcycle accident like pretty recently. Last year, I think.
Let's see. Terrence Glenn.
But I remember I know he was on the roster that year, but I'm pretty sure he didn't play in the playoffs. It's
a weird looking dude. He died in 2017.
Oh, damn.
5 years ago. Jeez Louise. Age 40. Oh, no. He had 44 career receiving touchdowns. I don't know how old he was. He won a Super Bowl? He must have been on like the first Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he got a ring for that one.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, you're right. He started one game.
Then I feel like Belichick sat him the rest of the way or something.
N'Keal Harry's never had a year like this. 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 24 targets. That exceeds N'Keal Harry numbers. He had a good rookie year. 90. Damn, he had 1,100 yards his rookie year.
Wow.
I like Terry Glenn. What was his off the field issues? Oh
I don't
boy.
remember honestly.
Oh boy. I think it was domestic violence, maybe. I don't know. Don't want to sour someone's name without all the facts. Yeah, so the Aaron Rodgers pack was glorious afterwards. All the Joe Rogan comparisons came out. More names than I can even remember. Clan Marino is very strong. You sent me that one. QB Anon is fantastic. I really like that one. I think Throw Rogan was one of the first ones. That's fine. QB Anon is really good.
Oh, I saw one that didn't make
That's
that
really
top 10
good.
list.
What?
Candace Throw-ins.
Oh, boy. That's strong. That's better than Throw Rogan. That's so good. And you can tell, like, he just wants to do that so bad. And we've said this forever. That's how it works. Like, that's how people on the right or the left in media get an audience. You go all in and you can't afford to go back. Have you seen that video going around? It was something, it was about Clay Travis, and PFT was talking about him. I think it was on like macro dosing or something. And he's like, one day we were at an event like not too long ago, and he's like, Clay Travis came up to us and he was like, there's a huge untapped resource in right-wing sports. Like, no one has gone all into it. I'm going to do it. And like, it's gonna like watch my followers go up and like watch how like much money I make. And PFT was just like, this guy's like, everything he does is complete fraudulent, because like he recognized that as like a, basically like treated it as like a business opportunity to just be like an asshole. And now he has like a bunch of like new shows, and I'm sure his followers have gone up and like all this stuff. So that's just how it works. Like Joe Rogan's a good example. Like if Joe Rogan came out tomorrow and was like, actually like discrediting everything he's been saying, he'd lose half his subscribers. Like, you can't afford to do it. Same with Aaron Rodgers. Well, maybe not. Aaron Rodgers isn't fair because that's not like his career, but it's going down an interesting path. I think his girlfriend's kind of weird too, like that. His wife, Cheyenne Woodley. I remember when the stories came out. Yeah, she's into like those like like herbal shampoo and like shit. Like, it just, a lot of it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, eating clay.
Like, yeah, not clay. Yeah,
yeah. I wish she ate clay. That clay.
Aaron Rodgers looks like a guy who uses like off market like shampoo, and so he looks like he stinks.
Oh yeah, he just goes outside, like grabs mud and like cleans his face with it at night.
I'm clean now. Yeah. I'm the greatest of all time. And again, I don't think he cares. He doesn't care. I like, as much as people debate, like, and I think you probably said it about most athletes, like maybe except like Jordan, LeBron, maybe Brady. I don't think most of these athletes care. Aaron Rodgers definitely doesn't. If you're not Jordan, LeBron, like people who are clearly in that conversation, like if you watch everything like the Manning cast is doing, I don't think Peyton Manning gives a shit anymore about like where he's going to go down, like as far as like where he like all-time quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think Rodgers does, just because I don't think he cares about football. Like I really don't. And it's interesting because actually they brought it up on Felger and Mass today. They were talking about like Brady's body language I didn't notice this. Maybe obviously it's Boston Talk Radio, but they were talking about how Brady, like, unlike usually, just seemed a lot more like lethargic or like not as into it as he usually is, which maybe makes sense. But I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on the Bucs game?
Just another crazy game.
It's 27-3. Like, that's scary. If they won that game, that's like other universally, like, this guy is not going to not win a Super Bowl until he's literally unemployed by the NFL.
I was watching Wodie's Twitch last night, and I was talking to him about this. Did you watch the whole game, or like most of it?
I was watching it like in passing for the first 3 quarters, and then sat down for the fourth quarter.
Okay, so then you saw the back and forth like turnovers that happened in the fourth quarter.
Sure,
dude. The center hiking it like Matt Stafford was fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like 50 feet over his head. After they had just gotten the pick or fumble off Brady the very previous play.
Yeah.
Like
Cam Akers,
the Rams are trying to give it away. Yep.
Okay. In that second one he fumbled, that was the next play, 50-yard touchdown to Mike Evans, right?
I believe
Or
so.
like that drive, obviously. That's just like, this isn't absolutely inevitable. 2 minutes left. Everyone's favorite coverage cornerback, Jalen Ramsey, looking absolutely lost, like covering him. Like he looked like he didn't know he was in the middle of a play.
He kept shaking his head too because they kept the camera on him when he was walking back to the bench, and he was acting as if either there should have been a flag or like it was someone else's fault. But it's like, dude, you were the only one on that side of the field, and you were the
Your
only
one-on-one
one on
coverage.
Mike Evans.
Yeah.
You just got burned.
It's hard to point fingers when you pride yourself on locking up the other guy's receiver one-on-one. That's the risk you take when you do that. And usually he's very good, but that was poor.
That was such a casual play.
So frustrating. That was very casual. Would you have considered covering Cooper Kupp on that last drive?
It definitely would have been in my like top 5
ideas
to check off. Like, yeah, what should we do here?
Yeah, I would have. God, that was so goddamn frustrating.
Like, Stafford hits him on a fucking back foot, falling backwards on a dime. And it was only because it was bad coverage.
Yeah, I know. Like, props to Stafford. That was a legit. You really can't take much away from that game. He's good, and I think he always has been good. It's just Detroit always has been very poor. So at this point, I don't know. I don't really care too much about anyone left in the league or left in the playoffs. I like Joe Burrow. I think they're probably going to get smoked. That means Mahomes' wife and brother. They are just absolutely the worst. They get worse every week.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible.
God, they're the worst. You saw his wife like doing the champagne thing today. I think it was you or someone just thought like talking about like going to a game. Like if I have to drive home covered in like sticky alcohol from her, like just being an idiot, I'd be furious. Like that's not okay. Or like you're a dad with like taking your 3 kids to a football game and you have to come home covered in like sticky champagne.
And people made a good point too that you've been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1.
Oh, you know, yeah, this happens every year.
Why are you celebrating the fucking AFC divisional round like this?
Yes, you've never not been to the conference championship at a minimum. Good God, yeah, they're just absolutely nauseating. Hot take. I think she is proactively trying to get like a divorce settlement, like just get half of this bajillion-dollar contract and then not have to go to these games. Because if he starts winning more, like this is going to become a distraction. Could you imagine like if I'm trying to think what would a Brady comparison be? I mean, Gisele's pretty loud herself. You know, she's pretty famous for the shots up to the booth. But I'm trying to think of Jackson Mahomes. It'd be like if like Alex Guerrero randomly just started making like TikToks on the Patriots side in the middle of games. Oh man. Oh, actually, I had another thought too. I think I'm probably going to tap into Man in the Arena, probably once the season ends, because I do think I'll really like him. I like just way too much to do that on top of like an ongoing season. It's like
you saw it now that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I know you're. Go ahead.
There's going to be a Tuck Rule 30 for 30.
Oh, I didn't know that was you're going to say. Yeah, that looks dope. I'll watch that because it was like 20 years ago. I'd like to relive that. I don't need to relive the Patriots Rams Super Bowl from 3 years ago. You know what I mean? And that's why maybe the early Man in the Arenas will be good. But yeah, Tuck Rule's perfect. 20 years. Although everyone, I guess, except Brady is out of the league now. Yeah, that'll be a pretty cool documentary. Watch Charles Woodson bitch and then move on with my life. I definitely got to tap into Ozark too. I know we were talking about that today. Have you started it all?
Just the first 2. I'm a big fan.
Good? Really?
But I think today when I was looking for because you know how they did this final season in 2 parts?
Yes.
So right now, there's only 7 episodes out. So I went to go look for when is part 2 coming out. And I was like trying to cover all the words on the screen except for like a date. And I think I spoiled like what happened so far. But
okay.
Yeah, either way, so far it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the new dynamic now is. So Helen's out.
Mm-hmm.
And now Marty and Wendy work directly for the big cheese himself.
Yeah.
Big tuna. Tune. And then what's the deal with the Snells? They're working with Ruth.
They recruited Ruth. Yep. And
nice pickup. That was a big
nice
free agent
pickups.
signing. Yeah.
3, Ruth's brother is dating Darlene. If you remember,
I thought the other one was
end
dating her.
Oh,
Wyatt
sorry,
was dating.
Wyatt.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot his name is Wyatt. Yeah. What a fucking relationship that is.
No spoilers, but any hot scenes yet between those two?
No, through 2 episodes, and I was looking for it because there was one time where I was like,
You remember that in season 2?
Yeah, that came out of
might
nowhere.
Be out of a show that's pretty like, I don't like shows that get too weird, like have one weird, crazy, like usually it's like a supernatural plot twist or something. That little side story in season 2 almost like got me. I don't want to say almost got me off, but not in the way you're thinking. Like almost like got me off the Ozark bandwagon. I was like, this is just strange. But then I remembered, like, sometimes this is what happens in those parts of the country. You're just a squirrel looking for a nut.
Dude, and those are 2 squirrely looking people.
Heroin empress. Yeah, 2 squirrely looking people.
I got to see what those 2 actors look like. Like not out in the wild, but when they're not in Hollywood makeup.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say Wyatt deserves like a fucking bonus for doing that scene, but then I'm like, actually, Darlene might deserve one too, because Wyatt looks like
Ichabod Crane.
Like a very slender, emaciated, unhealthy person.
Looks like that guy on The Thunder with long hair.
Oh, Pokashevsky.
Yeah, big Papa Pokashevsky. Yeah. Again, my last thought here before we sign off. I don't want you to spoil it, but I did. Is it true that 3 and Jonah do start a right-wing podcast around like mid-season?
Corona Brozark.
Oh no. Does it incorporate like real life? Because some shows do and some don't. Like, does it incorporate like COVID and stuff? No. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
which I'm glad
to swallow.
I only saw like 1 or 2 shows do that, and it was weird. I was like,
it's tough.
I feel like you guys
completely have to. Yeah, you definitely didn't have to do that.
Like
yeah,
you?
That makes sense. I'm trying to think. Did it?
No,
I don't think it did. But I know what you're saying. Like they did like the
anti-vax type stuff.
I know what you mean, but some shows actually do. Like they film it as if people are living in like the pandemic. And like
so I've seen one show like that. Your Honor. Your Honor with Bryan Cranston. People were wearing masks.
And got you.
They never called it COVID. They never called it coronavirus. They just said that like some sort of illness or pandemic was happening. It was weird.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Yeah, that would be tough to incorporate into Ozark. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they've got other health concerns on that show.
Yeah. No, I'll check that out. What was I going to say? Yeah, great weekend of football. Good to see some of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. That was really funny. It's tough to see Brady. I mean, once the Patriots are out, I wanted Brady to win that game. I don't, you know what I mean? We talked about this last year. It's like, I don't consider a bandwagon thing. It's just like, if the Patriots aren't in it, what's the, like, I'm not picking Brady over the Patriots because that's not a option, because Patriots blow. Brady's very good. I'm curious too, if what would be different if Antonio Brown was still in the picture.
Yeah.
Better chance of winning.
No AB, no Godwin.
Fournette played well, but he just came back.
Yeah.
They did have to cut Le'Veon Bell. That was a tough one to get Fournette back on the team.
What about their second running back behind Fournette? He was injured, right?
Ronald
Jones.
Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have Ronald Jones, what are you supposed to do?
I mean, his guys were dropping like easy passes yesterday too, but they're like, I'm guessing they were rookies or just.
And Gronk had a decent game. I swear Gronk just plays well in the playoffs.
He looks so much slower now, though.
He looks, he's like it's like one of those old cars who's just puffing its last ounce of gas out the muffler. He's got to retire. Like, just hang him up, dude.
Yeah.
You can find a tight end. Just make a couple $1,000,000 a year off like insurance commercials and like just call it a day. I don't know. Brady, we'll see. You think Brady comes back?
Yeah, I think so. I saw that post from TB12, and that would have been weird for them to release where like the ending hashtag was keep going or something like that. That would have been weird for them to post that without if he wasn't coming back. But
then I killed Bruce Arians.
Yeah, I don't know.
Poison his oatmeal or something. Laces cocaine.
I did see a tweet that said one of the things in Brady's like contract language was that if he wanted out after this season, they would have to grant it to him. Like that was one of the stipulations for him to.
What do you mean they have to grant it to him?
Like basically that. I can't remember what it was, but he works.
I thought he owed money if he doesn't play next year. He owes like $15 million.
No, I'm saying to go to a different team.
Oh,
I can't remember what it was, but I was like,
dude, that's interesting. He can't want to start with a new team. That can't be worth it. Yeah. No way. Like where? Where's he going to go? Pittsburgh?
Comes back to the Patriots to try and kill Harry again.
Oh, God. I don't even know if I would be okay with it. I'd just be like, come on. Like,
yeah, I'd be like,
a clown show.
Don't do this to yourself.
I'd rather him go to the Jets and win the Super Bowl. Or like go to the Giants, actually. Giants desperately need a quarterback. I think Bill would jump off a bridge if Brady went to the Giants and won a Super Bowl. I think he would jump out in front of a bus.
Mm-hmm.
Call it a day. The other big thing we forgot to mention was he did lose his right tackle, his Pro Bowl right, actually all pro, I think, Tristan Wirfs' right tackle was out against Aaron Donald and Von Miller and those other guys. That's just a poor equation.
He was in hell for like the first 3 quarters, I feel like.
Do you remember those Giant Super Bowls with Michael Strahan and Justin Tuck?
Mm-hmm.
We just literally be sandwiching him every other play. And like, when that happened, that was like the groundbreaking discovery that was, I hated that storyline, that overblown storyline. Like if you get to Brady, you'll beat him. Like no fucking shit. Like that's going to make it a lot more challenging.
Yeah. That's like the same for any quarterback.
I'm pretty sure the previous 10 years of his career, defensive coordinators were trying that. Oh, I hated that shit. Every talk show. Oh, he's got to get to Brady and you'll win. It's like, well, yes, that will help, but you still have to actually do that. Like not every team has 2 all-pro defensive ends.
I'm looking because I remember, man, they had a stacked defense. Oh, Matthias Kiwanuka.
Yeah.
Cool Osi Umenyiora, I think.
OC was the other one. Yep. I think the first year was Strahan and Tuck, and then OC came in. That guy was a dog. Justin Tuck was terrifying.
Yeah, Justin Tuck's got
big ass like shredder like face mask. Oh, JPP too. Pre firework JPP. He was a beast. Seriously, he was very good.
Justin Tuck has one of the biggest heads I've ever seen.
Enormous person. Big long head. Very scary guy. Yeah. Yeah.
So wait.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
This weekend predictions?
Sure. I like the favorite team should win these games. I don't see the Bengals winning in Arrowhead. I'll go Chiefs. But I don't know. Like it could be maybe defense just doesn't matter and it's another 45-40 game. So I'll go like 30 33 24 27. I'll go 33-24 Chiefs Bengals. And then I'll go games in Rams, right? Rams are home. What's the spread?
Question I wasn't prepared for.
Hold on, pull it up right now. I think I saw the Chiefs was 7. Sounds about right. Conference champs. Chiefs -7. Yeah, I think they'll I don't think they'll cover. Like I said, 33. I guess 33-24 would cover. Rams minus 3.5. Jeez. I'll go Rams 21-20. I do think it'll be a close game, actually.
I'm going to go Chiefs, but I do think the Niners will beat the Rams.
Wow. Hot take. Rematch. Super Bowl rematch.
Oh.
From no more than 2 years ago.
I would hate to see a Rams Chiefs Super Bowl because I don't want an LA team winning.
Oh, yeah.
And
they're not an LA team. That doesn't count.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they literally are, but you know what I mean. Oh, that'd be I don't want to see Jimmy G in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I do like Debo though. I'm honestly okay with any of these 4 combinations. I like the Bengals. I'll watch more Joe Burrow all the time. I mean, I hope the Bengals win, but I just don't think they will. I don't. This Chiefs team, bro. Like, Mahomes is fine, but there's just such like a thing around him with his family. Travis Kelce's an asshole. I don't really like him.
Tyreek Hill, literally a very bad person.
Not a great guy. That's actually the last thing I had. I don't want to spend time on it, but wasn't the taunting rule like brought in because of Tyreek Hill's like throwing up deuces to players?
Yeah.
I don't get how that wasn't a taunting flag. It literally doesn't make any sense.
Very strange enforcement or lack thereof of the rule.
There's just something about this country and just not enforcing rules that just, honest to God, pisses me off.
I was about to say they know how to write the rules.
Like, if you're going to make a mandate, let's enforce it, please.
Mm-hmm.
God, that drives me nuts. Imagine if that's like at the stadiums, there's signs like, no mask, no entry. And then right next to it, like, no taunting, no taunting, no yardage.
No shoes, no taunting, no service.
Absolutely no taunting. You taunt, you walk. Yeah, that was bad. That's so fun. Like, I hate to say it. That's such a cool play. Like, that's so disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Walking the team off by deuce. Or no, that was the tie. But still, oh boy, that's so bad.
It's crazy because like you see him when he gets to the very center of like the screen, and that like he's aiming to get to the sideline, and then he's just gonna book it from there.
Why not just keep going? Great point. Yeah, the telecast had it. They had that like suggested field goal line, and he just fucking blew past it. He just blew past it towards the end zone. I will say that's one of the fastest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill and full. Not to mention that was with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of a like very high paced game. Mm-hmm. So that's like gassed Tyreek Hill, which is terrifying against a very good secondary.
I saw Nick Sape Kyle put it up and say like he's got to be maybe the fastest
no one else
player
can do
in
that.
NFL history.
Yeah. No one else makes that play.
Yeah, I
was thinking receivers. No, the only one I remember was I remember Chris Johnson on the Titans back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
As Gus Johnson famously put it, run away from the cop speed. But he was very fast in the open field. Very fast. Yeah, receivers, maybe AB. I don't know. No one else really.
Prime Deshaun
Jackson. Yeah. He was just streak though.
Yeah.
Like just run straight down the field.
He
was up there for disrespectful wide receivers.
Oh,
like that Giants punt return was up. I think people forget. The punt return was great, but remember he just basically like turned around at the 1 and just like fell into the end zone.
Yeah, ran across the length of the end zone before he fell backwards. I saw people replying Randy, but Randy's another straight line guy.
Not like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no one's like that.
Calvin, and I was like, Calvin wasn't known for being like breakaway speed. He was just the biggest and also pretty fast.
Yeah. No, that was a good one. All right, we'll get out of here though. So we have predictions for next week. It's after this week of football. Like I know these games are gonna blow, which is fine. And then we'll see how the Super Bowl goes. Maybe we'll hit some TV shows this week and get into next week. Anyway, so enjoy the games. Thanks for listening to our show, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.